was conceived for after 9/11, which, meant gutting CISA, the Cyber and Infrastructure Protection Agency that watches over cyber attacks and ensures that our systems work, of gutting FEMA, which would have been further reduced except for the blizzards that came along, cutting off some of the further reductions, intelligence and analysis, counterterrorism, and groups like Homeland Security Investigations, who were diverted from their complex investigations to a great extent, working with ICE to chase people on civil immigration matters. That was not why she was fired, though. As Caitlin reported, this came down to, it's one thing to embarrass the administration, and that's forgivable, but once you have a series of gaffes that embarrass the boss, that is the straw that breaks the camel's back.
John Miller, thanks so much. Joining us now to discuss, Republican Congressman Mike Flood of Nebraska. Congressman, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it. Good to see you in person. What do you think of the president's decision to fire Noam?
Well, I think Markwayne Mullin is the right guy for the job. He's got great relationships in the Senate, but he's a House guy, and we see him all the time at our conferences. We have a lot of folks and members that spend a lot of time with him. Listen, he's from Oklahoma. When you're from a Midwestern state like Nebraska, like Oklahoma, even South Dakota, you find these good people. And Markwayne Mullin has the relationships. He has the confidence of the president, and he's got a group of people that are going to work for him and make the president proud, like Tom Homan. Tom Homan is the one we believe that can enforce our immigration laws and do it in a way that finds the right balance with law enforcement support.
You just answered my second question. How do you think Markwayne Mullin's going to do? But let's go back to the first. What do you think about the decision to fire Kristi Noem? Are you happy with that decision? Are you pleased that she's no longer going to be at head of DHS?
Here's what I'll say. The first tragedy and the first killing up in
Renee Good.
Good, yes. That was tough. The second one, that was one of the longest weekends our country's had in a long time. And I'm not limiting it to a weekend, but that weekend, when that came in, I think there was a cumulative and an immediate effect.
Brutal, yeah.
And I really think that the president, he understood at a visceral level that a change needed to be made. And he picked the person, Tom Homan, to go in there and fix it. Today, you've got a state that has changed. You've got the immigration enforcement's being done cooperatively. It's being done in jails, not on streets. Could we do that in New York? Could we do that in California? Can we do that in Illinois? And I think what we've done, what Tom Homan has done, is he's built a respect with the law enforcement community, with the governors and the mayors of some of the bluest states out there by the way he's conducted himself, the way he prioritizes law enforcement, by the fact that he's a cop. He understands how this stuff works. Like, we're going a really good direction. And now that you've got Markwayne Mullin, you've got Tom Homan, they're going to have hopefully a good relationship, and they can move this country forward on this issue.
Yeah, that weekend, it's interesting. The way you described it was interesting, because it really, I think a lot of Americans out there were thinking to themselves, what country do I live in? It was a really kind of shocking thing to say.
It was a very hard weekend. And this wasn't a bad weekend for one party. This was just a bad weekend for Americans.
But she went out there and she didn't tell the truth about what happened. And we could all see it from the video. Do you think she should have been fired then, after that?
Well, Tom Homan coming in and taking over all operations in the state of Minnesota, I think, sent a pretty big signal. And you know what? Good on the president for doing that. He saw a problem, he acted, and he did it immediately.
If President Trump is telling the truth, and I have no reason to think he isn't, then she said something under oath in front of the Senate that wasn't true, that President Trump had signed off on that ad campaign, $143 million. Do you think she should be investigated for lying under oath?
People should always tell the truth under oath. I did not watch the testimony. I actually just saw the clip for the first time waiting to come on your show. Listen, you got to tell the truth when you're in front of Congress. I'm not going to make a judgment today as to whether or not she did or not. I really know nothing about the mechanics of everything that happened here. And what happened yesterday in that testimony, that's not what I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about the next phase. I'm excited today about Markwayne Mullin. I'm excited about the direction we're going to go. I want Tom Homan to be empowered. The president picked the right person at the right time to change the trajectory of this entire thing. And if we can get Markwayne Mullin to put all the right people in place, I think this is going to be good for America.
All right, Republican Congressman Mike Flood from the great state of Nebraska. Thanks for coming in. Really appreciate it. Coming up, we're going to turn to the other major story we're following this hour. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth wrapping up a press conference a short while ago saying U.S. firepower against Iran is about to surge dramatically. We're going to talk to an Iranian-American journalist and author about that. Plus, we're digging into the cost of this war with Iran as oil and gas prices spike to the highest level in nearly a year.
We asked real people to choose between a car washed at Tidal Wave Auto Spa and a leading competitor to see which was shinier. The results couldn't be clearer. 84% chose Tidal Wave's Graph-X 4 over the competition. Keep your car clean car happy at Tidal Wave.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Oh, it's easy to call it.
That one's Tidal Wave for sure.
Yeah, we're sure. We asked real people to choose between a car washed at Tidal Wave Auto Spa and a leading competitor to see which was shinier. The results couldn't be clearer. 84% chose Tidal Wave's Graph-X 4 over the competition. Keep your car clean car happy at Tidal Wave.
Which one is shinier? Which one is shinier? Which one is shinier?
My name is Taylor. I'm a deck builder in the Pacific Northwest, and I recommend TimberTech. The low maintenance is a huge selling point. In the Northwest, you get a lot of rain, so a lot of rot, mold growth, insects. A wood deck just doesn't last very long. Most people don't want to be out there on their hands and knees, sanding and restaining. The composite definitely holds up. Clients pick out what color they want, and it's that color for the life of the board. They get to enjoy their beautiful deck for a lot longer.
Newsnight with Abby Phillip, weeknights at 10 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
The relationship between the FBI director and the president has always been complicated.
No one is above the law in the FBI's eyes.
Standoff, the FBI, Power and Paranoia premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
You introduce your buddy to DTF St. Louis.
Whoa.
He goes on the site and winds up dead.
I want to know more.
We always want to know more.
Had you ever discussed leaving your husband?
What's going on out here in the suburbs?
Why'd you kill your friend?
The Situation Room, weekday mornings at 10 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
Hey, Rooster!
The kids call you Rooster?
They think I'm like my character.
Nice washboard. This is college. You can be the Rooster if you want.
Cock a doodle doo.
All There Is with Anderson Cooper. Listen at cnn.com/allthereis.
Did the re-election of Donald Trump play any role in your decision to resign? It sounds like you have the facts on your fingertips.
There really is much more that unites us than that which divides us.
Watch The Lead, weekdays at 5 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
This is the work of a cold, calculating assassin.
In a competition like this, every chef is swinging for the fences.
This is the best lineup of bakers I have ever seen.
Series premiere, The Ultimate Baking Championship, Monday at 9 on Food Network.
CNN This Morning with Audie Cornish. Weekdays at 6 a.m. on CNN.
Which one is shinier? Which one is shinier? Which one is shinier?
Turning to our world lead, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth took to the podium last hour to update Americans on the escalating war in Iran. And as chaos grips the Middle East, Hegseth says that the U.S. has only just begun.
I'm honored to stand right here today alongside. Iran is hoping that we cannot sustain this, which is a really bad miscalculation for the IRGC in Iran. You see, there's no shortage of American will here. We've got no shortage of munitions. Our stockpiles of defensive and offensive weapons allow us to sustain this campaign as long as we need to. Again, our munition status only increases as our advantage increases. Our capabilities, we have only just begun to fight and fight decisively.
Hexat's comments come as unrest persists across the Middle East. Today, Israeli officials claim they hit Iranian missile sites. Iran also carried out new strikes across the region, with several people now injured in Abu Dhabi. Also today, fire erupted at an oil refinery in Bahrain. Bahraini officials say the fire is now fully contained, and it was sparked from an Iranian missile strike. When it comes to who will be the next leader of Iran, President Trump is insisting on having a say. In a new interview today with Axios, President Trump was asked about the prospect of the late Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's son succeeding him. He answered, "They are wasting their time. Khamenei's son is a lightweight. I have to be involved in the appointment." Joining us now is Roxana Saberi. She's an Iranian-American journalist and author who was once imprisoned in Iran under false accusations of espionage. Roxana, what do you think of this idea of President Trump saying that he has to play a role in the appointment of Iran's next leader?
Well, some initial responses that I've been getting from Iran is there's some confusion among the people. What does President Trump mean about having a role, and what does he mean about the next leader? The Iranians I've talked to, and I think you would find the majority of the Iranians do not want another supreme leader to replace Ali Khamenei, who was killed on Saturday. They say that all of these people did not go out to protest and get massacred in January just to have the continuation of the Islamic Republic. As one doctor put it to me just a couple of days ago, they don't want an Islamic Republic 2.0. That would be a doomsday scenario, they said. But the overwhelming majority of Iranians also, we know, don't want an Islamic Republic. They want some kind of democratic political system. So I think they're concerned that President Trump could be supportive of having another supreme leader. And as for the thought of long-term foreign interference in domestic political affairs, I think a lot of Iranians would feel a deep unease about that as well.
The Iranians you're speaking with, what is life like for them right now in Iran?
It's mixed. For some who have left the cities that have been bombarded quite heavily, they say they feel fairly safe. But those who have stayed behind, namely in Tehran, they say it is very, very tense. There are missiles falling all around them, and they're afraid. I hear, however, that people are also very afraid of the regime staying in power once the war is done. I mean, one teacher told us today that actually, though she's afraid, she's even more afraid that the regime would stay and that they'd be stuck with the regime. And that was while she was having panic attacks, she said, and she's taking medication for the panic attacks. I would say that many Iranians do feel trapped between the missiles, the U.S., Israel, and their own regime. And the longer the war goes on, and if there are more civilian casualties, it's likely that more Iranians will turn against the war. But right now, the statements that I've been getting from inside Iran is that they are hopeful that this war will end in the removal of the regime and hopefully a free and democratic Iran for them.
Yeah, that'd be great. Obviously, a lot of steps before that can happen. The Center for Human Rights in Iran announced that they're gravely concerned about the safety of the political prisoners in Iran right now. They cite that the Islamic Republic has a history of using the shadow of war to carry out abuses in prison. As someone who spent time imprisoned in Iran, tell us more about that concern.
Yeah, there are reportedly at least 50,000, more than 50,000 protesters who have been detained since January. And already before this war, their situation was very dire, with many of them subjected to torture, coerced confessions, and without access to an attorney. And during this war, communications have been almost non-existent. And of course, there's also an internet blackout, which makes it all the more worrying that Iranian authorities could carry out more violence against these detainees under the cover of digital darkness. When you're in prison and you don't have a way to reach your voice to the outside world, it's terrifying, and it's all the more terrifying knowing that your captors could cause harm to you and those around you, and nobody would ever find out. They could be held unaccountable.
Roxana Saberi, thank you so much. Really good to have you on the show today. As the war with Iran expands in the Middle East, an Afghan refugee trapped at a U.S.-run camp in Qatar shares her message for President Trump and Secretary Rubio. That's next.
Weeknights
weeknights on CNN.
Tonight on 360,
The stories that matter.
this whole area is just engulfed in flames.
From a trusted voice.
We witnessed something nobody alive has ever seen before. You said that AI could wipe out half of all entry-level jobs. How soon might that happen?
A fearless eyewitness.
We just got a red alert to go down to a bomb shelter.
Every night makes sense of the world. Anderson Cooper 360, weeknights at 8 on CNN, and watch on the CNN app.
The story is wacky, it's kooky, it's zany.
Tackling the biggest issues.
More tariffs.
Adult diaper penis injections.
Asking the hardest questions.
Do I have dementia or does he?
That's why you watch this show.
This crew is delivering the hottest take on the news of the week.
We got $200 billion of tariff money. My suggestion, reparations. In the form of a Costco card.
But I got news for you. New episodes Saturday at 9 on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
This is something that no one would have expected even a few months ago.
There's new drama here on Capitol Hill tonight.
If you received that order, would you have carried it out?
Wouldn't you tell your friends back home I'm joining Border Patrol or some surprise?
Here are the 5 things you need to know to start your day.
Should kids be allowed on social media?
You know, I think a lot of women right now ask that question.
If anybody knows about going to great lengths to realize a dream, it's the 5 Japanese-born players in front of their nation's fans for the first time.
Homecoming, the Tokyo series, premieres March 27th on the CNN app.
The relationship between the FBI director and the president has always been complicated.
No one is above the law in the FBI's eyes.
Standoff, the FBI, Power and Paranoia, premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
In these troubling times, the world desperately needs a hero. Unfortunately, we've got him.
What to do when country go, ah!
Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Taylor's engagement was just Princess Di level news.
$2.2 billion in spend is projected based on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding planning.
I do. The Taylor and Travis era. Now streaming on the CNN app.
Explore CNN podcasts for your daily dose of news, culture, and smart storytelling. And discover the conversations shaping our world. Follow and listen to CNN podcasts wherever you get your podcasts.
When you buy a house, you're buying the neighbors.
It looks like an Osama bin Laden compound in Pakistan.
There is 6 to 8 chickens, 10 to 15 chicken, 20 chicken.
Oh, can't poop on me.
Don't talk to my child that way. You will not talk over me.
Back off.
Sir.
My attorney will bury you.
30 seconds.
Wake up.
Breaking overnight.
Catch up.
New details and more questions.
Start your mornings here.
This is a pivotal week.
CNN News Central. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on CNN and watch at 8 on the CNN app.
It is the stretch run on TNT.
The push for the playoffs, that's when their game really picks up.
That's the best time of year.
It gets super intense.
Come on, you can feel it!
Do or die, gotta make the playoffs.
It's crunch time. Every game's a must-win. Your back's against the wall.
That can come down to one moment, one play.
You gotta embrace this challenge. It's all about getting in. Once you're in, you never know what's gonna happen. Give yourself every opportunity to compete for the Stanley Cup.
The rush for the playoffs on TNT.
In our world lead, it isn't just Americans who are now stranded in the Middle East as this war with Iran expands. You remember those hundreds of Afghan refugees who worked for the Americans during the war and who were fully vetted and legally cleared for travel to the United States to resettle, including family members of active U.S. military service personnel? Remember them? President Trump stopped them from coming in. So many of them went to refugee camps in Doha, Qatar, and they are still there while this war is now waging. And now missile fragments and debris are falling near them and reportedly even on their shelters. The president of Afghan EVAC, an organization working to relocate and resettle Afghan allies who served along the U.S. government, is urging Secretary of State Marco Rubio to, quote, protect them now, bring them here, unquote. with us now is a teenage Afghan refugee who we're not naming, and we're blurring her face to be cautious. She's in Qatar at Al Salihah American base with her parents. Thank you so much for joining us. First of all, how are you doing? How worried are you about your safety in that camp?
Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to speak to you. It has been over a year that I'm living here in Al Salihah camp in Qatar with my family. And regarding to the situation, since the beginning of the conflict, missiles are being intercepted and exploding above our camp, and fragments have fallen into residential areas. There are no reinforced shelter, and mothers and children have nowhere safe to go. Even container housing units where we live provide no meaningful protection. Warning alarms regularly force families and children to run for safety. However, there is no safe place here, and that's what cause people fear and concern.
Can you tell us what you've seen and heard at this camp you're in?
Well, yes, is that okay if I say my experience?
Yeah.
So since it started, it was such a bad moment, and everyone was screaming, and everyone, of course, terrified because we were experiencing we're experiencing this, and my brother, he was really terrified, and he was keep telling that mom, dad, I don't want to die. I'm still 11-year-old. I'm still a kid. I don't want to die. I want to live, and I want to chase my dream. Mom, dad, I don't want to die. And that's what really terrified me whenever I remember that.
It's just no way to have a childhood. How worried are you and your family about your safety at the camp right now?
Of course, we're worried a lot because we're living a uncertain life, and we don't know what's going to happen next. Me myself, I was deprived of education for 5 years, and my mom and dad, because they were army officers, because of their identity, we were living in Afghanistan under Taliban rule, under Taliban government, and it was really hard for us to leave. So of course, we're living in uncertainty, and it's really hard situation for us.
If you could deliver a message to President Trump or to Secretary of State Marco Rubio, if they were watching right now, what would you say to them?
That's a good question, and that's what I'm going to say. According to Secretary of State, a few citizens are being advised to leave parts of the region due to security concerns. We respectfully ask what protection are in place for vulnerable Afghan families still waiting under U.S. authority, because we didn't leave Afghanistan as an ordinary migrants. We applied for our cases in 2021 and remained under processing for 3 years. We passed all security checks, biometric screening, and other legal processes. Later, we completed medical examination through CARE and IOM organization and were transformed here to Qatar. Even when we were transformed here to Qatar, we screened and reviewed again. We've gone through every required security process, and we did not come here illegally.
Thank you so much for being here. We hope you and your family stay safe, and I'm so sorry that you're stuck where you are.
Thank you.
The cost of gasoline in the United States has reached its highest average price in 11 months as the war in the Middle East expands. How much more could you expect to pay in the coming days and weeks? And what about the other impacts on the American economy? That's next.
When you buy a house, you're buying the neighbors.
It looks like an Osama bin Laden compound in Pakistan.
There is 6 to 8 chickens, 10 to 15 chicken, 20 chicken.
Oh, okay. Who pointed me?
Don't talk to my child that way.
You will not talk over me.
Back off. Sir.
My attorney will bury you.
The relationship between the FBI director and the president has always been complicated.
No one is above the law in the FBI's eyes.
Standoff, the FBI, Power and Paranoia premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
When my hair started to thin, I thought, am I going to have any hair left?
After I gave birth, my hair wasn't even thinning, it was gone.
When I spoke to my dermatologist, he immediately pointed me in the direction of Nutrafol.
It's 100% drug-free and clinically tested.
Within 3 months, my hair was fuller.
It's longer, it's so much thicker.
I had more scalp coverage.
It was so nice to be noticed for my hair after hiding it for so many years.
Start your hair growth journey at Nutrafol.com.
Grief isn't talked about much, but that's what my podcast is all about. Join me and my guests for a new season with new conversations about loss, life, and love.
All There Is with Anderson Cooper. Listen at cnn.com/allthereis.
How's your shift going?
It's been a lot.
This can be very stressful.
Charged. Clear.
Is every day like this?
No comment. We're gonna take care of you, okay?
This is what we do.
The Source with Caitlin Collins. Weeknights at 9 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
Dad, I don't need you to check on me.
I still love you.
Ow!
I just want to help.
Hey, Rooster! Oh, hey there!
The kids call you Rooster?
They think I'm like my character.
You're a best-selling author parents have actually heard of.
Nice washboard. This is college. You can be the rooster if you want.
Crush it, Rooster! I want to crush it!
Yeah, yeah!
Disney Plus, Hulu, and HBO Max. It's the best of everything together.
I hope you can walk because I'm not carrying you.
You're hunting something that can't be killed.
I could use a second set of hands here!
I miss all the gross stuff.
It's the ultimate bundle for an unbelievable price. Kara Swisher Wants to Live Forever. Coming soon on CNN.
In these troubling times, the world desperately needs a hero. Unfortunately, we've got him.
What to do when country go, ah!
Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
In our money lead, the war in Iran continues to increase the amount of money you are paying to fill up your car. The U.S. average gas price is now $3.25 a gallon. That's the highest average price in 11 months. There has been a 26-cent a gallon increase since just Friday, and it is likely going to get worse because the war appears to have completely stopped the flow of oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. That is the crucial waterway between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, where about 20% of the world's crude oil and natural gas passes through. The S&P Global Commodities says 0 tankers made their way through yesterday. And as of today, U.S. oil prices spiked to their biggest one-day increase since May 2020, with U.S. crude oil surging 8.5% to $81.01 a barrel. Let's bring in Gene Soroka. He's the executive director of the Port of Los Angeles and has spent several years based in Dubai, overseeing shipping operations across 22 countries. Gene, you actually still maintain many contacts you made throughout the region's logistics sector. We've seen both U.S. gas and oil prices go up since the war started. But given the uncertainty over how long this is going to last, what major global impacts could we see going forward?
Good evening, Jake. The Middle East looks a lot like the U.S. from a purchasing standpoint. Not much is manufactured there, so furniture, footwear, clothing, electronics all get moved from Asia by these container ships into the Middle East, the Arabian Gulf, Red Sea, and East Africa. So the consumer in the Middle East is going to start to see lower levels of inventory across their normal buying channels. I'm also concerned about perishable commodities, fruit, vegetables, and different meat coming in those chilled refrigerator containers. It's a closed loop market, meaning that those ships designated to go to those 3 subregions will turn around and go right back to Asia for the next round of imports coming to the Middle East. The impacts here in the U.S. will be minimal, except for the price of fuel that those big ships use. They're going to be going up at least 30% as the shipping lines review their cost structures.
So earlier today, Iran's Revolutionary Guard, and I understand we should take everything they say with a grain of salt, but they said that the Strait of Hormuz is only closed to ships from the U.S., Israel, Europe, and other Western allies. But doesn't that still impact just about every tanker that goes through?
It sure does. Right now, there are hundreds of ships lined up outside the strait to the east, with many more inside that are immovable right now. 110 or so container ships, and then hundreds of energy ships, bulkers, perishable commodities, as you said at the top of the segment. So realistically speaking, again, nothing's moving, and we have no evidence that it will anytime soon.
Yesterday, the Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent, reinforced President Trump's commitment to send the U.S. Navy to escort oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. Is that a risk that global shipping lines are willing to take, that they'll do it surrounded by Navy ships?
Not at this time. We just concluded our Trans-Pacific Maritime Conference that S&P Global hosted with the Journal of Commerce here in Long Beach this week. And talking to shipping executives, their attention was turned directly to the Middle East, and they're not really with the risk appetite to go through that strait at this point in time.
What kind of immediate ripple effect will American consumers see from this?
Price at the pump is up 27 cents. The oil prices you covered crossed $80 today for West Texas Intermediate. These bunker prices on ships are going up, as will the price for the fuel adjustment factor on our airplanes overall. But I still think the supply chain flow from Asia on finished goods coming into the United States will continue unimpeded. We don't share vessels, crew, or assets with these other East-West trades. We're in pretty good shape. But with a war risk premium now being assessed by companies like Hapag-Lloyd and CMA CGM to the tune of $3,000 per container for ships headed that way, it's going to be some time before we see normal supply chains unwind there. The next round of ships that were scheduled to leave Asia this weekend heading to the Middle East have all been stopped for the time being.
So it's $3,000 per container, not per container ship. How many containers do these ships carry on average?
Up to about 24,000 container units. That's a lot of money we're talking about. And on a per container basis, Jake, that's equivalent to, if not a little bit more, than the price of the ocean freight for the right to ship that container.
I know you saw some impacts of the tariffs at the Port of Los Angeles where you work. Are you seeing any impact of this war yet at the Port of Los Angeles?
Just on the fuel prices at this time, the Trans-Pacific market, which is the highest revenue yielding market in the world, continues to move cargo fluidly. But we're also coming off just the close of Lunar New Year in Asia, Jake. So it's typically our slower time of year. And if there's any spike or rerouting of cargo, we'll be able to absorb that pretty quickly here.
All right, Gene Sirocco, thank you so much for your expertise. Appreciate it. We're hearing more reaction from Democrats and Republicans about President Trump's firing of Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Let's just say no one really appears to be too upset about it. The panel reacts next.
How's your shift going?
It's been a lot.
This can be very stressful.
Charged. Clear.
Is every day like this?
No comment.
We're gonna take care of you, okay?
This is what we do.
Welcome to All There Is Live, a weekly live stream where I talk to others about grief and loss.
I don't think that I was ever prepared for loss.
You'll hear deeply moving and honest discussions with people living with life-altering losses.
We all have this common tragedy. Nobody's rushing to make it better.
Grief is something that will live with you forever. It changes you, but it doesn't always have to be a negative change.
Now streaming at cnn.com/allthereis.
Just what we got on campus, see?
Yeah. My dog right there, my dog.
How much you think you're being called and on this path and you're on it, and how much are you got your hands on the wheel, you're driving it, man?
Thank God, man. No one's framed any questions like this to me.
If you're being right too often, you're not taking enough risk.
No person in their right mind tells a young person, hey, drop out of school and go pursue acting, you know, and you guys should drop out of school.
Now streaming on the CNN app. All There Is with Anderson Cooper. Listen at cnn.com/allthereis.
In these troubling times, the world desperately needs a hero. Unfortunately, we've got him.
What to do when country go ah?
Last week tonight with John Oliver.
The relationship between the FBI director and the president has always been complicated.
Sometimes they're in moments of deep collaboration. At other times, the FBI is investigating the president.
You don't want an FBI to try to destroy a president, but you also don't want a president to destroy the FBI.
No one is above the law in the FBI's eyes.
Standoff, the FBI, Power and Paranoia premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
Every weeknight, we cover it all. Will you take this all the way to the Supreme Court?
I'm not refuting a syllable of what you said.
What do you say to people who are looking to find their voice?
Laura Coates Live, weeknights at 11 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
Kara Swisher Wants to Live Forever. Coming soon on CNN.
Dad, I don't need you to check on me.
I still love you.
Ow! I just want to help.
Hey, Rooster! Oh, hey there!
The kids call you Rooster?
They think I'm like my character. You're a best-selling author parents have actually heard of.
Nice washboard. This is college. You can be the rooster if you want.
Crush it, Rooster! I want to crush it!
Yeah, yeah!
You introduced your buddy to DTF St. Louis. Whoa. He goes on the site and winds up dead.
I want to know more.
We always want to know more.
Had you ever discussed leaving your husband?
What's going on out here in the suburbs? Why'd you kill your friend?
In our politics lead, we are following reaction to President Trump's announcement he is replacing Kristi Noem as Homeland Security Secretary. In a statement, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina said, quote, "I think it was time for a change." Way to go out on a limb there, Lindsey. California Governor Gavin Newsom's press office posted, "Bye, girl." I mean, what is happening to our politics? Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said this.
Hey, Kristi Noem, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Here's your legacy: corruption and chaos. Now that you're gone, don't think you get to just walk away. I guarantee you, you will still be held accountable.
We'll see. Here to discuss is the panel. First, let's go to National Review politics reporter Audrey Fahlberg, who was the very first to report the president was furious with Noem and considering Markwayne Mullin as her replacement. So why now? Why did he decide to change horses now?
He's been frustrated with her for a while, I think, as we all know. There's been a lot of infighting between her top aide, Corey Lewandowski, Rodney Scott, Tom Homan for quite some time.
Who's Rodney Scott?
Rodney Scott's the head of Customs and Border Protection. So remember, also her response to the Minneapolis fatal shootings, calling Alex Pretty a domestic terrorist. Trump had to come in there and install Tom Homan. he was already kind of really frustrated with her. Then we get these absolutely disastrous Senate and House Judiciary Committee hearings this week. So I first got the tip on this yesterday, where I heard the president was considering replacing her with Markwayne Mullin, and that was in part because he was so frustrated by her response to a really tough question from John Kennedy, senator from Louisiana, who kept pressing her about that $220 million ad campaign from last year, and whether the president greenlit it. She said repeatedly that he did, and he was very displeased by that.
And he told Reuters today he did not. He did not greenlight it. So what do you think?
Well, you can't lie, number one, and I think it's time to go. Listen, I mean, there was major displeasure with Kristi Noem. I've known her since the House. There's definitely been a change. But listen, Markwayne Mullin's going to be a really good cabinet secretary. And at the end of the day, you serve at the pleasure of the president. The president was not going to buy in to when the Democrats were asking her to step down after Minneapolis. I think he was like digging in. But after this week, actually, with the two testimonies, like he's done. And it's time to go.
During her speech today, praising law enforcement response to the deadly shooting in Austin this week, take a listen to what, well, I guess she's still Secretary Noem. Secretary Noem had to say.
It reminded me of the quote that is often attributed to George Orwell that states, "People sleep peacefully in their beds at night only because rough men stand ready to do violence on their behalves," which means you step up in order to protect people, and you do it in a way that other people often are never going to be required to.
Interesting quote. What do you think?
I think that was Jack Nicholson. You need me on that wall.
Yeah.
Just please go away. You know, she'll have more time to shoot her dogs now. What a horrible public servant. I'm sorry. What she said about American citizens when her thugs shot them, Renee Good and Alex Preddy, and she didn't bring justice to them. In fact, she insulted their memories. That's unpardonable. And politically, it's unpardonable to throw the president under the bus for your own self-aggrandizing ads. Someone is lying, and I heard your interview with Congressman Neguse, who asked her the same questions in the House hearing, and she needs to lawyer up. I'm not saying I believe Donald Trump over her or her over him, but we have diametrically opposed positions on this, and it's just she's a deeply unserious person. Now, let's see if Senator Markwayne Mullin is up to the task. He's a guy with no national security, homeland security experience, not even on the committee in the Senate. Ran a very successful plumbing company, which is great. He was an MMA fighter, which is terrific. Has nothing to do with protecting us from terrorists. Where is General Kelly? Where is Governor Tom Ridge? Where is Jay Johnson? Where are the people, the serious people in both parties that we had protecting us?
Ashley?
Okay, I want to tell you, I told you, I was employee number 1 at the White House Office of Homeland Security. Tom Ridge was employee number 2 after 9/11. I knew nothing about Homeland Security, and neither did he. He did fight in Vietnam. However, he was a manager.
Right.
And he was a presence. And so I do think that Markwayne will probably be more of a presence, and the military aspect of DHS will be more appreciative of him than kind of what she was doing in regards to her ads and the ICE things, you know, with the whatever outfits that she had on. But my point is I think they'll respect him more than her.
So let me just ask.
It's a very low bar. I want someone qualified. This is my life too.
We didn't
this
know
is not partisan.
Yeah, I get it.
You know, we all lived through 9/11.
We'll see how he does. We'll see how he does. He has to get confirmed first, of course.
He will.
Audrey, on the issue of whether Secretary Noem is telling the truth or President Trump is telling the truth, I do find it hard to believe that Secretary Noem would say, hey, we're going to do a $143 million or $220 million. I'm not sure which figure is correct. I've heard both from lawmakers. We're going to do this campaign. It's going to feature me prominently as if I'm a movie star on horseback riding through the South Dakota wildlife. I do find it hard to believe that she would actually do that, and President Trump would say, that sounds like a great idea.
Look, there are some people who are privately pushing back on what the president has said, you know, that he must have known about this in some capacity. What I'll say is I reported what I heard, which is that the president was furious with her testimony to that question in particular. What he's also really frustrated by, I'm told, is when she was asked if she had, I don't want to use explicit language on, but, you know, was romantically involved with Corey Lewandowski, her top aide.
Both of them are married, of course.
They're both married. Her husband was behind her in the House Judiciary hearing. She first deflected, didn't immediately say no. She's pressed again by a House Democrat, and then she said, I've, you know, refuted this for years. Point is, that was clearly a point of tension. But I think another point here is You talk about lack of experience. I think one thing that the president is hoping from Senator Mullen is that he's going to be very differential to leaders who are already within DHS because there was so much tension between her and the current leaders. Another thing to watch is this story with Lewandowski is not over yet. A lot of people think that there's a lot more self-dealing going on, and that's something that I would continue to watch.
Very interesting. President Trump just said something very interesting about Cuba. Take a listen.
What's happening with Cuba is amazing, and we think that we want to finish this one first, but that will be just a question of time before you and a lot of unbelievable people are going to be going back to Cuba. I just want to wait a couple of weeks. I wanted to wait a couple of weeks, but we'll be together again soon, I suspect, celebrating what's going on in Cuba.
So, another regime change, military action?
You can take that.
Que paso? What's going on here? I mean, by the way, we have troops apparently in Ecuador right now in combat, not combat, but pseudo combat situation. Nobody, who even knew that? Apparently they're fighting drug
We've
gangs.
had people in Ecuador for a long time, but
not in a hot war. Like, what is he doing? But one of the reasons he won is the American people were really sick of President Bush's forever wars. And I think rightly.
Extended by President Obama, we should note, except for Iraq, but Afghanistan was.
Right. And many Americans turned to Trump because they were quite sure he would never get us entangled in foreign wars.
J.D. Vance said
like
in a Wall Street Journal op-ed.
It's like the 7th country he's bombed in a year.
Well, he hasn't done Cuba yet.
No, but I think Iran is number 7. Cuba would be 8.
What do you think? I mean, I know you come from the Bush wing of the Republican Party, but...
No, I do, but I also think, if you listen to Condi Rice, who I think a lot of people respect, this is a once-in-a-generational time to take out the Iranian leadership. And I actually don't think that Donald Trump cares right now about the midterm elections, because this is not going to be popular at home. It's not popular at home. But do you have the opportunity to take out this regime? And are you willing to risk it all? And I think that's a good leader. These guys are bad guys. These are bad people.
So the worst guy is Putin. Exactly. Let's take Putin out.
Yeah, but they have nuclear weapons.
We're going to have a war. Let's take Putin out.
Well, that's a good line. That's a good.
Thank you. And I wasn't talking.
That's a good demarcation. Thank you so much. Great to have you. Thank you so much. Congrats on all the great scoops. Savannah Guthrie just visited her NBC colleagues for the first time since her mother Nancy went missing more than a month ago. What Savannah Guthrie had to say about her future at the network. That story's next.
The Arena with Casey Hunt, weekdays at 4 on CNN, and watch on the CNN app.
Grief isn't talked about much, but that's what my podcast is all about. Join me and my guests for a new season with new conversations about loss, life, and love.
All There Is with Anderson Cooper. Listen at cnn.com/allthereis.
In these troubling times, the world desperately needs a hero. Unfortunately, we've got him.
What to do when country go
Last week tonight with John Oliver.
Introducing All There Is Live, where I talk to others about grief and loss, and you can join the conversation too.
Now streaming at cnn.com/allthereis.
Dad, I don't need you to check on me.
I still love you.
Ow! I just want to help.
Hey, Rooster! Oh, hey there!
The kids call you Rooster?
They think I'm like my character. You're a best-selling author parents have actually heard of. Nice washboard. This is college. You can be the Rooster if you want. Crush it, Rooster! I want to crush it! Yeah, yeah!
The relationship between the FBI director and the president has always been complicated.
Standoff, the FBI, Power and Paranoia, premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN.
Are you comfy? I feel like I'm in an air fryer, but sure. Yeah.
When you buy a house, you're buying the neighbors.
It looks like an Osama bin Laden compound in Pakistan.
There is 6 to 8 chickens, 10 to 15 chicken, 20 chicken.
Oh, can't poop on me.
Don't talk to my child that way.
You will not talk over me.
Back off, sir! My attorney will bury you.
Disney Plus, Hulu, and HBO Max. It's the best of everything together.
I hope you can walk because I'm not carrying you. You're hunting something that can't be killed.
second set of hands here.
I miss all the gross stuff.
It's the ultimate bundle for an unbelievable price.
For our last leads, we're going to start in our pop culture lead. Britney Spears has been released from jail after police say she was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence last night. A representative for Spears called it a, quote, unfortunate incident that is completely inexcusable, unquote. They say Spears' family is going to help her make some changes in her life and that hopefully she can, quote, get the help and support she needs. International lead, NBC anchor Savannah Guthrie returned to NBC for the first time since her mother, Nancy Guthrie, disappeared from her home in Tucson, Arizona, February 1st. Sources report that Savannah told colleagues, quote, I don't know how to come back, but I don't know how not to. You're my family. She added, I wanted you to know that I'm still standing and I still have hope and I'm still me. If you have any information you think could help solve the mystery of the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, please call the Pima County Sheriff's Department, 520-351-4900, or the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. You can also reach the Bureau online at tips.fbi.gov. In our sports lead, today President Trump welcomed the Inter Miami Football Club to the White House to celebrate their Major League Soccer championship. MVP Lionel Messi entered the event beside President Trump. The club gave the president a Trump 47 jersey and a signed soccer ball trophy. Renowned athlete and co-owner David Beckham did not attend, he said, due to family commitments. If you ever miss an episode of Lead, you can watch a show on the CNN app. Aaron Burnett Out Front starts now.